This is, of course, a much tougher one. It's number 22 here. Which one of the following most strongly supports the researcher's hypothesis overall? Any thoughts on this one? Anyone want to share their thoughts for this question? Anyone have an idea of what the researcher's hypothesis is for this question? So we've got one person saying A, one person saying B. And first off, let's just see what's the hypothesis here. So I'll see the underlying tool isn't that great on LSAC's site, but hypothesis here, we have hypothesize in the stimulus. And then we have one person saying the hypothesis is each separate salmon group adapted genetically to its habitat. Yes, that's just the final clause here. They hypothesize each adapted genetically to its distinct habitat. And so if they've adapted genetically to each distinct habitat, that means that there is not some alternative explanation for how they could have split and come to differ genetically. So the answer is in fact A. And so the person who said A there is correct. Neither population has interbred with the native salmon. If they did interbreed with the native salmon, then they would not have necessarily adapted genetically on their own. By kind of mixing with the native population, the local population that was already there, that would have helped them to adapt in the first place, and they wouldn't have done it on their own through their own unique process of natural selection, so to speak, referencing our passage earlier. So here, what A is doing is simply dismissing that alternative possibility of interbreeding with the natives that would have prevented them adapting on their own. So I hope that clears this one up for anyone who was in doubt. I think it'd be useful, of course, for anyone who had trouble with this, walk through it, give your own review process to analyze why perhaps maybe B was tempting for you. And then we could talk about it next time if you want to write out your thought process for that one. I did get a request to cover one more here, number 24. But before I do that, I do want to explain just quickly, looking at choice B, why it might have been tempting and why it might be wrong. So B does mention two distinct populations that differ genetically and now do not interbreed, but B is talking about the previous situation with the native salmon in Lake Clearwater prior. And I don't think it really matters that much what these native salmon did earlier, because these native salmon, they disappeared already. And so for that reason, I don't think we have to necessarily care what happened to them way back when. We care about this genetically uniform group now that has since split, and why did they split, and what does it mean for them to have split?